right? So just about what are all the things that advantages that when we use Azure Data Bricks. So today we are going to see how to create the Azure Databricks workspace and what are all the components that are available that we will see today. So to start with, so if you see the icon, like if you enter into the Azure portal, so you will see the icon called as Azure Databricks. Okay, so just go here and then click on create. So if you have any of this Azure Databricks instance, that's fine. You can use that. Otherwise, you can create your own. So before that, what I will do, I will try to go to my resource group, and here I will try to create the Databricks workspace. Okay, first thing that we need to do is we have to create the Databricks workspace. So just click on here. So we will be kind of creating the Databricks workspace. So once you type in Databricks, so you can see the icon over here. So here I can go and click on create. So while creating, so we need to give some inputs. So first thing is we need to give some name. Okay. And then we have to choose the region. And here, so what is the tier that you want to create? Okay. So for us, I want to create, not a premium. So for trial account, I don't think premium, we will have the option to select the premium. Premium will be kind of a high configuration. This we will be creating in the project for production environment. Of course, standard you can choose if you are able to get it, but I am selecting premium 13 days free DBUs. So I'm using the trial version. Okay. And also we can select the resource group name. Okay. So resource group name, I mean this is not the resource group that we create is if you have any um, like managed resource group that you can select. But for us, we don't have any. So we can just click on review and create. No need to do with that. So we can just click on create. Okay. So the workspace will be created in the first place. So once the workspace is created, then we will be able to go into that, and then we will be able to play with the different objects. So we will wait until this workspace is created. It will take some amount of time, so we'll wait until it is completed. So but when you people are using the trial account, I'm not sure whether you are able to create this workspace, database workspace. Just try it. Okay, if not, another alternative is, we will discuss the another alternative is, I already showed you. So we have to create a Databricks community edition account. Okay, so here you have to go, just select Databricks community edition. So here just click on this, and we have to do the sign up first. Okay, so we have to, okay, go here, and so here you have to type in. So this is a kind of a not within the account, it is just a kind of data. You will get the Databricks. You will get the access to only Databricks. You will not able to create. You will not able to find this resource group, all those things. Okay, so you have to input your um, name, and then you have to give your mail ID, right? And then you will be, so here you can type in, and so just click on continue. So here you have to choose Microsoft Azure. Just click on. So you are creating this Databricks on top of Microsoft Azure. So that's why you have to choose Microsoft Azure, right? So, so just click on take me to Azure Databricks. Try for free, start free. And then you have to input your password and everything, and then you will be able to create that account. Okay, so this is kind of one way of creating this Azure Databricks account. Either if you have the portal created already, so you can also go through that resource group and create the Azure Databricks workspace. Let me know if you face any challenges tomorrow. Okay, so we will try to resolve that if you are not able to create that in the trial account. So this workspace is created. Now I will go here, and I will try to find my workspace. So this is the Azure Databricks service. So just click on this. See, if you go here, so here what it is saying, launch workspace. So we'll click on that. So if you have your company account, so again you need not to input any usernames and password. Automatically, when if you log in through your Azure portal, it will take the credentials, and it will log into that. It will log into that. So if you look at it, so once we log into this Databricks workspace, right? So you will see lot many options. You will see lot many options, right? So here, workspace, if you just click on that, say workspace, it has nothing. So we will see where it is useful, why it is useful, that we will see. But on high level in the workspace, so we will see, we can see the user section, right? So we can see who are all the users that are access to this workspace. So that we will see in this workspace section so that he will be able to modify something that written on top of it, right? Shared means what are all the shared notebooks if we have created already, that we will see anyway. So just a high level. Repos means this section is used to save our notebooks, save our notebooks in integration with the Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps, as we know, it's a kind of a version control tool. So when we create any notebooks, if you want to save somewhere, so using the repos, we can basically save that. So that also we will see after completing the Databricks section, that I will take one session and I will see like how we can use and how we can deploy or publish our changes. Okay. So this is a high level, and recent means so it will be having like if you done something, anything, if you modified any notebooks or anything, so it will appear here. And um, so so you will see lot many options. Anyway, we will be discussing about this uh, in future one by one. So workflows, compute. So this is a kind of a, if you know the SQL, now if you want to write something, right? So then we can use kind of this window to write some SQL on top of it, right? So this is again SQL section, and also uh, so we can see if we create any jobs, so we will be kind of seeing which are all the jobs which are run, right? All these things that we will discuss, and this section is mainly related to the machine learning. So machine learning is also kind of creating the machine learning models are also that we can do within the Databricks environment only. So that's why like Databricks is very powerful, right? So this is a kind of overall window. So if you just click on new, so it is asking that what do you want to create? What do you want to create? You want to create a notebook, you want to create a new repo, or you want to upload a file, or you want to add a data, or you want to create the cluster. So we will come to the cluster in a moment. So first, I want to create the notebook. Just click on new, and then I want to click on create notebook. So what is notebook here? What is notebook? So in the Databricks, if you want to write some coding, right? So it might be SQL or PySpark. Select star from some table. If you want to write some coding, right? So in that case, where you will write? You will write within the notebook itself, within the notebook. So now, if you just, so you will see so many options. By default, the notebook is created on top of the Python language. You can change that. Okay. You can change to SQL notebook. You can change to Scala. You can change to R. But most of the cases will be kind of using the PySpark. So that's why it's running based off of Python. Okay. That option we will have to choose. I mean, this notebook built upon which language that we can choose. Right. So you have written something and you want to run something. You want to run something, right? So when you are trying to run something, what it is asking? So what it is asking? It is by default what it is doing? It is creating the cluster. It is creating the cluster, right? We have not created the cluster. So what it is doing? It is trying to create a cluster. See, with the default name, it is taken my name. It is taking like personal compute cluster or something. And then it is also taken the configuration. So these are all kind of a 14 GB memory and 4 cores. 4 cores. It will run with the default. And runtime means which I mean so what this runtime indicates means, so you want to use which version. For suppose you must have heard about SQL 2018, 2019. So some of the commands will be added in every version, right? So which version of this runtime engine that you want to use, that built upon, right, this this Spark architecture, right? This we can choose. If you want, you can change that. By default, it is selected as this. And now if you look at it, so by default, so it is choosing the minimum configuration, 14 GB memory and 4 cores. So one driver node is equal to, internally, this configuration is equal to one driver node. So what is this node indicates, that we will discuss. Okay, so if you choose this instance type, so if you increase, so what it is saying, so still it is showing as one driver node. So it is still using the one driver node. So what it is mean by is, so if you choose any configuration, there will be one driver node, n number of worker nodes. Okay, that will see what is the concept behind this. So I want to choose this configuration for now. So the cluster is starting. Without this cluster, we are not able to execute any command. After creating the cluster only, we will be able to run this command. So what is the importance of cluster? When you perform any command, when you write any command and you want to execute, it will try to use that cluster configuration, I mean the memory. So whatever data you are pulling, it will store that into that memory, and it will process that using that cluster memory, and it will give the result back, right? So that's why cluster is very much helpful. Cluster is very much helpful. Without cluster, you are not able to run the code that you have written in the notebook. So everything is like you will write in the notebook, right? So, but if you want to run any commands that you have written, so you should have the cluster associated with that. At least one cluster associated with that. So it is right now, it is creating this cluster, and after that, this command will execute. Anyway, it will fail. We don't have the table, this table. Just I have written some command. I want to run it. So it will basically kind of execute and it will give the output. So let's wait until this cluster is created. So if you go to this compute, so here we can see this cluster is getting created. Cluster is getting created. It is in progress. Now you want to first create the cluster and then use that cluster. That is also possible. You can go to this and create compute. Create compute. So once you click on create compute, so it will give the options to you. So we will come in a minute to here. So first let's, the cluster is created. So one thing is, when you feel like okay, you are done with the practice, just try to terminate this. Otherwise, it will be very costly component, the cluster creation and usage. So your credits will go within 1 day itself if you don't terminate this. Okay. So that much important that you have to remember, because it is very costly component. So once you use the cluster, I mean the notebooks and practice and everything, so just terminate it. If you really require, then only start work starting the cluster and use it. Okay, if you don't terminate this, they will cost you more. Okay, so we will wait until this cluster is created. And if you look at it, when you open this cluster, so terminate after how many minutes of inactivity. So that also you can select. If you are not using cluster for these many minutes, it will basically terminate after 4320 minutes. I don't want to wait until that much of time, right? So I want to terminate it to around 5 minutes of inactivity automatically. Then terminate means it will turn off that cluster. It will not run. So when you are creating your cluster, you have to choose at least maximum 5 minutes. That's it. Not more than that. If you keep more than 5 minutes, so if you forget to turn off that, it will automatically turn off the cluster. So that you need to remember. Okay, now our cluster is created. Just go here. See, it is ready. This cluster is ready. Now we'll go back. So here, this is our notebook. Just open this. So anyway, it is saying that invalid syntax, blah, blah, blah. That is not our purpose, but at least this command is executed. If we don't use any cluster, until that, it will not run this command. So at least you should attach one cluster. Now, for suppose I went here, I went to the compute and I terminated this. I terminated this. Okay, means this is not in a kind of a running state. This is not in a kind of a running state. Now I go to the workspace and then I will go here and I will try to run. So what is the status of the cluster? Terminated. When you click on run all, so what it is asking? It is asking automatically launch and attach without prompting. So next time when you are running this cluster, this notebook, so what it is saying? It is asking us to start, attach and run. So just select this. So first what it will do? It will go to this cluster and then it will start this cluster. After that, see it is roaming means it is about to start that. It is about to start that. Just go here and then see it is starting this cluster and again it is running this cluster. It is running this cluster. Right. So this is the whole story about the cluster. So where you will write commands in the notebook. Okay, everything you will write. The PySpark that we are going to learn from Monday. So we will be writing in the notebooks, and we will try to import some sample data, and then we will be playing with that data. Okay, with the different commands. So everything that we will be writing in the notebook, we will be writing in the notebook, and we will be using this cluster to run these commands, whatever we write. Right. So now it is started. Just try to. So it's automatically getting executed. See. So once it is executed, if you want to run again, so you have to just click on run here, or you can also click on shift plus enter. So here all the commands are already there. Shift plus enter to run, or just click on run. Right. So if you just click on shift plus enter, so it will run. Shift plus enter, it will run. And also So you want to create a new notebook, a new notebook, right? So you will have some options over here. Run cell, just click on run cell. So it will run only this cell, only this cell. If you have anything below, right, run all below. Means except this, it will try to run all the cells that we have created. Now if you go here, so here add cell below. Just it will sorry, above means it will add above, below means it will add below. So it will add a cell within the notebook, right? And then you can write the commands. You can write the commands here. Any commands like Python, SQL, or anything is acceptable, right? So and so we will go into the this deeper. Okay, so this is a kind of introduction to the notebooks and the cluster. Notebooks and the cluster. Now, if you go to this workspace, so within the workspace, you will see, I will go to this workspace. So here I can see two options. One is, so it is saying that folder, right? So this users means if you look at it, you can see the users who are added in this workspace. The users right now, I am the only one. That's why I can see only one user. But in the project, you can see n number of users. If you click on users, I can see what are all the notebooks that I have created. I have created, you can see it. You can see it, right? So just go here, workspace, and then maybe click on. So if you just click on add, you can see some options. You can click on create folder. You can create a new folder, anything. Okay. So under this, you can create the notebooks. You want to create a notebook. You can create it. You can create it. And if you go to the workspace again, just click on workspace. So just click on workspace. So under this test folder, so you can see, so under the test folder, you can see the notebook created. So under users, if you don't create a notebook under any folder, by default, it will be created under users folder. If you just click on your username, notebook by default created under users name. So if you create any folder specifically and you added any notebook under that, so you will be able to access that notebook under that folder. So don't get confused, right? So and so you want to uh, add some file, new file name something, test file something, create file. Okay. So here you can write some contents and then just we don't do it. We don't create any file over here. We just upload and use it. But this is a kind of way. So if you just go to the workspace, so within the workspace, if you go to the test, so this file is created. Okay. So this is kind of the options that we have, right? So to create and delete it. Move to trash means it will be deleted and move to this trash folder if you don't want to use it. Like so after moving the trash folder, if you want to delete something, you can just click on like permanently delete. If it is applicable to anything, either notebook or anything, just go here and click on move to trash if you want to delete it. And after you go to the trash folder, so you can permanently delete this. Good. So whatever you will be playing with some notebooks and everything, right? So you can basically try to go and delete that if you don't like to use it. Same way, this is applicable to anything. It might be a folder or anything, right? That is applicable to anything, right? So this is the kind of something introductory about the cluster and the notebook. And in the compute, so we will find this cluster. So what we need to do, so we have to, it's better to, when you if you are, not, if you are not using the cluster, I prefer to turn off or delete. Okay, you can delete. Next day you can try to create a new cluster. Okay, so or you can change the configuration to turn off every after 5 minutes. If you are not, if you are this notebook is idle or cluster is idle, that is also you can do, right? So you can, I told you, like, you can create the clusters from the compute. Okay, just click on create compute. So when you click on create compute, so with this configuration, what it is talking about, 2 to 8 worker nodes and one driver node. What is this driver node and the worker nodes? As I told you, uh, the Spark architecture, the Spark architecture. So everything, every program that you write, so we have kind of driver program, and then it will be kind of, internally the cluster will come into the picture, the cluster manager, as I already told you, and then it will distribute the work to the number of worker nodes, number of worker nodes. So when we execute anything, first it will go to this driver node, and this driver node will route the workload to the cluster manager within the cluster. And this cluster manager distribute the workload into different worker nodes. So this worker node, that's why if you see the worker nodes configuration is high. So 2 to 8 worker nodes with this configuration, you can utilize from 28 to 112 GB memory with this configuration, and cores, of course, the cores in CPU. So you can use 8 to 32 cores. I mean, this will increase the performance, right? So if you have high memory means, if you can perform large computations, so that will not cause any issue, right? So now next thing is, if you go here, you will see the option to select the configuration. So if you just select this configuration, so you can, you have selected this, and you can change how many worker nodes that you want to choose minimum. So I want to change it as 32. So with this configuration, so this configuration 28 GB 8 cores is a kind of a driver node. Okay, so just keep this as is, but the worker nodes configuration is very much important. So now the worker nodes, if you're trying to increase 4 to 32, so it is trying to use 56 and 448 GB memory, right? So this is, I mean, if you increase the number of worker nodes internally, what it is doing, it is increasing the memory and the cores associated with that, cores associated with that. And we have an important feature called as enable auto scaling. What it is mean by that? So the meaning is, even though you have selected 4 and 32, but if you are dealing with terabytes of data that is coming in unexpectedly from the source,